Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning for the show. If you are watching us live on Facebook, we do appreciate that. And if you are watching us later, we do upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We have audio and video versions there for you to check out. They are free. Getting into your traffic this morning, you're looking at heavier delays as compared to yesterday at 4H Club Road, River Road, N190. Some minor delays on I-12, but it is flowing. Looking at some delays, of course, as usual, on your on-ramps at 447 Jubin Road and Range Avenue getting up on I-12. Also some minor delays on 64 heading into Central. It's currently 74 degrees, 93 degrees your high today, so that rain yesterday kind of keeping temperatures cooler. It's going to be overcast, 75 degrees your overnight low. 30% chance of rain today. As mentioned, it is going to be overcast. Before we get into talking about the coronavirus, and we're lagging, there we go. Before we get into talking about the coronavirus, I want to talk a little bit about that rain yesterday. Over 2,000 people in Livingston Parish lost power, or 2,000 structures lost power yesterday in Livingston Parish, and there was a flash flood watch. If you did get water in your home, not only do you need to call your insurance company, but you also need to report that either to your local municipality or you need to call the Livingston Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Development. You can Google those numbers. You need to report that. Those people need to know for their records. They can also get you some help with that. So please, if you did get some water intrusion yesterday, please call your local municipality. If you are in the parish, please call the Livingston Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. You can find that number online. Yesterday, the governor did sign the criminal justice reform that came out. This is supposed to lower people's insurance rates. It has dropped the jury trial threshold from $50,000 to $10,000. It used to be at least the system that was presented to the public was that at about $49,000, lawyers just knew to keep throwing that out. And the insurance companies would just settle out at that number. Now at $10,000, they're expecting more jury trials. They juries will not know the defendant's name. However, a lot of people are worried that opponents in the legislature are worried that this new law will open up juries being able to just throw awards at defendants as opposed to really seeing out the facts. Because you can still sue the insurer directly. It isn't necessarily a defendant and a plaintiff. The insurance companies are still involved. Good morning, Miss Jessica, and good morning, Jonathan. Thanks for joining us. And I do apologize. I'm lagging again. Not entirely sure what's going on this morning. Finally, on that, there is the collateral source rule as part of this new justice reform. And what all that means is that, for the most part, there was a sticker price for health care post-accident. Now, any kind of award that comes after that will be based on time missed from work as well as the final health care bill. So it won't just be some sort of lump sum payout that in a lot of cases was more than what was necessary to pay out. Getting in your novel coronavirus today, 86,411 cases statewide, 3,375 deaths, 53,288 recoveries, which is a great number. We did cross a milestone. We are over 1 million tests. We're up to about 1,023,000 total tests statewide. 1,401 are hospitalized on 162 ventilators. Those numbers are still not good. They are still going up. Need to wear those masks in public. We will talk about mitigation efforts in just a second. Have those LP statistics for you today. So in Livingston Parish, 1,721 cases, 41 deaths on 17,800 tests. Now getting into those mitigation efforts, wear a mask in public. It is now a mandate. Wash your hands for 20 seconds or more with soap and water. 6 feet of distance or more between yourself and others in public. Control sneezing and coughing with your elbow or a tissue. Don't touch your face, my favorite one. 25 or less to a gathering, preferably less. And stay home if you're sick, and utilize telehealth to get in touch with your doctor and try to stay home to work if possible. One of the big things to come out of the governor's press conference yesterday is that there is emergency rental assistance for Louisiana residents, especially as we're facing I guess you could say, the end of unemployment benefits. One of the things that we learned yesterday was that roughly around September, local unemployment assistance from the state of Louisiana is going to become insolvent around September at its current pace. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going on in terms of the workforce moving forward, because on July 31st, the extra $600 a month that was coming from the federal government will disappear. Right now, it doesn't look like they're going to extend that. There is some time to extend it. It's not done yet. But at this time, they are kind of dragging their feet at the federal level regarding that. There is a lot of concern about the level of unemployment and the Baton Rouge area. 1.3 million new claims were made last week. Of course, everything's running about a week behind because of Department of Labor regulations. But right now, you're looking at 55 to 60,000 unemployed in the Baton Rouge area, and especially with those unemployment benefits running out, the state is looking to try to stay ahead of that. Now, if you are interested in the program, you can call 211 or go to larenthelp.com. There's up to $24 million to be allocated total for rental assistance across the state. It will not help with back rent. You need to work with your landlord on that. And you're looking for households of 2 to 4 people that are low income. However, that low income can include unemployment. So please consider that. It is worth calling if you're having trouble keeping up with your rent, but please remember it will not cover back rent. That was something that they were very specific about yesterday. Getting into your school reopenings. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead. Well, we'll go ahead and cover school reopenings, because one of the things that this is definitely going to be hinged upon is what phase the state is in. That is one of the most important parts of this phased reopening that was presented by Livingston Parish Public Schools yesterday. Of course, phase one of the Livingston Parish, so the school system has 3 phases that are based upon what phase I guess you can say, state is in. So in phase one, it'll look much like it did in the spring. It's going to be distance learning. Now, they have learned a lot. They've gotten a lot better at it, and it'll be a lot more efficient this fall. But right now, we're in phase two. Not necessarily going backwards, but people need to follow those mitigation efforts. In phase two, it's going to be a hybrid approach. It's going to be something along the lines of some kids are going to go to school, especially those that need the in-person learning, and some kids are going to distance learn. In phase three, it'll be the new normal type school. There's going to be social distancing. Kids are going to have temperature checks, that sort of thing going into school. They will be wearing masks on campus, but kids are going to be going to school in phase three. So we're looking to get to phase three. Now, one of the things that the school system did say is that, as we mentioned right at the beginning of this part of the segment, how school works is going to depend on what phase the state is in. We are going to learn more about what phase the state's going to move in Monday. And of course, usually what happens is the governor announces a new phase or whatever's going to happen on Monday, and then he signs a new proclamation either Thursday night or Friday morning. Next Friday is July 24th. One of the things the school system asks you specifically to do is to call your local school, wherever your kid goes to school, call that office, get more information based on what phase they're going to be in, because it's not just about, well, we're in phase one, it's going to be distance learning. Each school, or it's phase two. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to throw that out like that's a fact. I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen next week. But let's say we're in phase two. We're in phase two now. Let's say we stay there. They will have some sort of hybrid on-campus learning and distance learning, and it'll be up to you to determine how you want to do that for your child, and you're going to have to work with the school. So it is important to call your school directly July 24th. Also be keeping an eye on their social media pages. We do have a full write-up from Mr. David Gray of exactly what happens in each phase. It's a ton of data. I could sit here for about 40 minutes and go through it. It is important for you to read it directly just to get an idea of what it's going to look like next week when you make that phone call on July 24th to your specific school for your child. So please, please, please remember, that is the best way to get that information, because each school is going to be doing something specific and all their own, based on what their faculty can handle, what the most the largest number of kids can handle and that sort of thing. There are also benefits that you can apply for if you don't have internet at home. You need to contact your school. Say your child doesn't have a computer at home, you need to contact your school. So please remember, on Monday, we're going to find out what phase we're going to move into as a state. I threw out phase one earlier. I have no idea. I don't know if we're going backward. I don't know if we're going forward. I don't know if we're going to stay right where we are. I don't know any of that. I do know that right now we're in phase two. So whatever happens Monday, next July 24th, you need to call the school where your student attends or where your child attends and figure out exactly what their plan is going to be, exactly for the date that school starts. School is going to start on time. So for you parents who are planning to send your kids to Livingston Parish Public Schools or do distance learning or the virtual school or anything like that, you got about 3 weeks to prepare because school is going to start on time. Now, we did sit down with Mr. Rob DeArmond yesterday, our sports editor here at the News, and talked about sports because that is a component of school and a lot of people are kind of laser focused on that. Right now, you're looking at practice for some of the more spread out, lower contact stuff like swimming and cross country. Those two sports basically have the green light. They're waiting for phase three to push into being able to compete. Volleyball is in the same boat. Phase three will allow extra practice, and they're going to try to move into games at that point. Football, however, they're kind of looking for phase three to be able to have full contact practice, and the idea that the LHSAA, if full contact practice is not causing a lot of clusters and a lot of coronavirus spread, they might try to move into games. We're not entirely sure what those games are going to look like, what practice is going to look like. It's going to take some time to figure that out. I do apologize. I'm not sure why my internet continues to kind of hiccup this morning. Sorry about the lag a couple of times, but we're not entirely sure what those games are going to look like. I recommend you go check out that podcast. It's at www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We shared it on our Facebook page as well. It's about 25 minutes. It's a bunch of good information, but the LHSAA, as well as the school systems, are moving forward as if sports are going to be played. Those football games that usually come that last week in August, first week in September, they may be 2 or 3 weeks delayed. But, again, that's kind of like the phases. I don't know. It all depends on how many people are following these mitigation efforts, how quickly we can get these case counts under control and move forward through the phases. Now, cross your fingers, maybe we'll move into phase three on Monday. I'm not entirely sure. But how those sports work out, especially here in the fall, is going to be very much dependent on where the state is in terms of phases, which affects the phases that are developed by the LHSAA. So please watch that podcast. It's very important. Also yesterday during the podcast, a question was asked that has come up on social media a lot regarding testing and how testing is reported. There have been claims on social media that somebody's friend, cousin, co-worker, customer went to go get tested, was waiting in line, decided they didn't have time to wait, couldn't wait, got nervous, whatever, and left, and then received notice later that they had tested positive. Now, one of the things that Dr. Alex McHugh, Louisiana Department of Health, he is the assistant secretary of that department, said was that they've never received a credible report. Nobody has ever, upon the inquiry, no one has ever given them an email saying that. They cannot show call logs because if you did test positive, you would receive a call stating that you tested positive. Then you would also receive a follow-up call from the 877 number that is the contact tracing number. A lot of these people could not prove that. Now, Dr. BU said if you do have credible evidence of this happening at a specific testing site or multiple testing sites or what have you, and those folks can say this happened to me and this is when it happened to me, please call the Louisiana Department of Health because they need to work with that testing site. They need to do an investigation. They need to make sure that they're doing the right thing and not over-reporting. That goes into the second claim, which is that if somebody tested positive, they must test negative in order to be cleared. And that's over that 2-week period. Some people get tested again or a third time or even a fourth time. There was a claim that the state was re-reporting these as new coronavirus tests. According to Dr. Alex McHugh, that is not the case. Once you're on their digital big board, so to speak, as a positive case, you are not re-reported. If you retest to see if you're positive and that test comes in, it simply goes under your file, that result. It does not get re-reported as a new test. He also said that they are going to work with local officials to make sure that that is the case. Now, during, or I guess you could say Monday, Red River Parish Department of Homeland Security released a report that was counter to what Dr. Alex Bu said, in that they said that they had people who were being counted twice and they should have closer to probably 56 cases as opposed to, I believe it's about 94. Dr. Alex Bu said that what is on the Department of Health's website is correct. And he said that he was going, now, I'm not, we had a little breakup during that press conference, so I'm not sure if he addressed that issue directly. There were some people there that said that he did. I didn't get that information. However, one of the things that was said is that that was reported by other news outlets, including the Advocate in Baton Rouge, is that he is going to be in discussion with Red River Parish about those discrepancies. So we will see. But again, those are both sort of rumors that have been floating around on social media. According to Louisiana Department of Health, they have received no credible leads and no credible evidence regarding those situations. It's also important to remember that if you test positive and you have to miss work for 2 weeks, and somebody gave you a false positive or falsely reported that, that opens up lawsuits. So it's kind of interesting to see that some people aren't real willing, especially in a place like Louisiana, to follow these things to lawsuits. That none have been filed as of yet. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes forward if they do end up in some investigations with specific testing sites and what they find out. But we'll learn more about that in the future, I am sure. But the governor did not know about these situations. The Louisiana Department of Health did know, so that is important. Again, though, please remember, I want to remind you guys one last time, on Monday we're going to learn what phase the state is going to move into. Next Friday, you need to call your school site for your child and get the exact situation that the schools are going to be following for those first few days. And of course, they're going to be able to help you directly. If you don't have internet at home, you don't have a computer, you can't do distance learning, you're having trouble setting it up, that kind of thing, they can help you. Bo's Extravaganza, or Mr. John Schneider, former star of Dukes of Hazzard, and still in the movie business, and he has a studio in Holden. It's about 158 acres over there off of 190. He's going to be having his extravaganza. Usually it's in the spring, in and around his birthday. Of course, coronavirus caused him to push it back a couple of months, but it is happening. It's happening this weekend. Advance tickets are $30, $50 for a 2-day pass. There's 158 acres. He is saying that space is somewhat limited. They are going to ask people to socially distance. To do the right thing, there will be sanitization stations around the grounds as they go through the party. So he is asking people to come out, have a good weekend, have fun with him and his friends. There will be some other celebrities there doing autographs and talking to folks. So you can attend that. That'll be in Holden. That's this weekend, the 18th and 19th. So tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. And that'll be $30 in it for one day, $50 for a 2-day pass. One last time getting into these coronavirus statistics, 86,411 cases, 3,375 deaths, 53,288 have recovered on 1,023,000 tests. Big milestone there. 1,401 are hospitalized on 162 ventilators. In Livingston Parish, 1,721 cases, 41 deaths, and 17,800 tests. Good morning, Miss Karen, and yes, Miss Dawn, thank goodness it is Friday. Getting into your mitigation efforts real quick. Wear a mask in public. It is a mandate. Wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds or more. 6 feet or more of distance between yourself and others in public. Control your sneezing and your cough with your elbow or a tissue. Don't touch your face, my favorite one. 25 or less to a gathering, preferably less. Stay home if sick and utilize telehealth to get in touch with your doctor, and stay home to work if at all possible. Looking at heavier delays at 4-H Club Road, River Road, and 190, so get ready for that. I-12 is flowing, but some minor delays this morning, on-ramp delays as usual, and minor delays on 64 heading into Central. With your weather, 74 degrees is your current temperature, 93 your high, so that rain yesterday going to keep the temperature relatively low compared to what we have seen. 75 degrees your overnight low. It is going to be overcast with a 30% chance of rain. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Good to be back with you guys for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show this week. We did miss Monday due to some technical difficulties here in the office, but we got those solved, and we were here for the rest of the week. It was good to get back on my feet and get back going after having a respiratory issue last week. Want to remind folks I did test negative for coronavirus, as did the other members of my household, so that was a good sign. Want to remind folks that we are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month to get that every Thursday in your mailbox. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We have a podcast page, which is free, a coronavirus page, which is free, and we also have a breaking news page, which gives you national and state level news for free, so you can check those out. We hope you have a great weekend. If you do decide to go to Bo's Extravaganza this weekend in Holden, please enjoy yourself. Try to stay safe. Wear a mask. Please do all those mitigation efforts. Try to practice them. I know not everybody likes to wear a mask and those kinds of things, but we are trying to look to get this thing under control, move into phase 3 and beyond. Excuse me. Move into phase 3 and beyond so these kids can go back to school at least at some level of normal, and moving forward so we can get into that vaccination era and people can start moving past this thing. So please try to wear a mask, keep your hands washed, keep 6 feet or more of distance between yourself and others. Those are the important ones. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Please try to stay cool. Drink your water. And we will, I don't know if that was a commercial for water, but drink water. And we hope you have a great weekend. Please stay safe, and we will see you Monday morning.